All right, today we're jumping into a story from the Quran that honestly feels like a scene straight out of a blockbuster movie. It's this incredible story about truth going up against illusion, humility against pride, and we're going to unpack what it can teach us about power, persuasion, and, well, human nature itself. And, the text itself doesn't treat this like some dry historical record. No, it sets the scene as this high stakes, almost cinematic showdown. You've got Musa and Harun versus the Pharaoh. It's epic. Okay, so let's set the stage. Before we get to the main event, you've got to understand who the key players are and what's really on the line here. So, on one side, you have Team Truth, right? That's Moses and Aaron, or Musa and Harun. Their tools, divine signs. Their mission, to deliver a pretty tough truth. And on the other side, you've got Team Power. This is the Pharaoh and his whole elite crew. Their tools are arrogance and just keeping things the way they are, the status quo. And their mission is super simple. Maintain control no matter what. Now, the Quran points to a really specific psychological block here, a word called istikbar. And this is so important. It basically means arrogance. The whole conflict isn't about a lack of proof or evidence. It's about a kind of deep-seated pride that just won't even look at the signs being shown. So what does that arrogance, that istikbar, actually look like in practice? Well, when Moses comes forward and makes his case, the immediate reaction isn't to argue the facts or debate the evidence. Nope. It's to attack the messenger. And here's their first move. They label what they're seeing as obvious magic. I mean, this is a classic move, right? If you call something magic, you're basically trying to reframe it, to turn something that might be profound and real into just a cheap trick that you can just wave away. And there's some really interesting psychology going on here. Think about it. If you can just slap a label on something, call it a trick or magic, you've just given yourself the perfect excuse to ignore it. It's a super effective way to shut down an uncomfortable truth without ever having to actually deal with what it's saying. But Moses' comeback is so sharp, so logical, he basically asks, are you really calling the truth magic? He points out this huge difference between a temporary illusion and a real, lasting truth. He's pretty much saying, look, magic is just a show, it's a trick, it fades. But truth sticks around. So Pharaoh, you can imagine, is feeling the heat. His authority is being challenged. So what does he do? He decides he's not going to be outstaged. If they're going to call this magic, fine. He's going to fight spectacle with an even bigger, better spectacle. And he has a very clear game plan. It's a 3-step process. First, label it. Dismiss the truth as just magic. Second, accuse the messenger. Frame him as someone who's just trying to cause trouble and disrupt society. And third, assemble the troops. He calls in every single learned sorcerer in the kingdom to put on a massive show of force and completely drown out Moses' message. This really tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? Pharaoh has zero interest in finding out what's true. This is all about public relations. It's a power play. He's trying to win the crowd over with a big show, not with logic or facts. And just like that, the stage is set for the ultimate confrontation. You've got divine reality on one side, and on the other, the biggest, most elaborate illusion the entire kingdom of Egypt can possibly whip up. What's amazing is the confidence Moses shows here. He doesn't try to interrupt them. He doesn't insist on going first. He just tells the magicians, throw whatever you're going to throw. It's like he's saying, go on, give me your best shot. Because he knows that real truth has absolutely nothing to fear from a little bit of theater. And the climax, wow. It's just stunning. The magicians, they do their thing. They throw their ropes and staffs and create this massive, powerful illusion. But then Moses throws his staff, and it's not an illusion. It's a divine sign that literally consumes their tricks. The truth physically devours the illusion, showing everyone just how empty it really was. But you know what? The story doesn't just end there with that incredible mic drop moment. Maybe the biggest twist, the most surprising part of this whole thing is what happens next, with the very experts Pharaoh brought in to debunk Moses. In that one moment, they get it. They see what just happened. They recognize that this wasn't just a better trick than theirs. This was something completely different, a kind of power way beyond anything they could do. And so, right there, standing in front of the tyrant who paid them to put on a show, they fall down and declare their belief. I mean, just stop and think about the sheer courage that took. These guys were the top professionals in the entire kingdom. They were hired for one job,
But when they came face to face with a reality that just completely shattered everything they thought they knew, their own honesty, their own integrity made them speak up, even knowing the risk.
And that choice, what the magicians did, that really gets to the core of why the story is still so powerful today. It's so much more than just a story about miracles. It's a deep, deep commentary on human nature, on power, and on our own, sometimes complicated relationship with the truth. So when you break it all down, the story is packed with these timeless themes, right? You've got the power of truth versus the shiny appeal of a big show. You see the tactic of just labeling something to make it go away. You see what real intellectual honesty and moral courage look like. And it shows us how entrenched power fights back, not with logic, but with pride. And maybe the biggest takeaway is this: an enduring truth will always, always outlast a temporary illusion. And that really leaves us with a pretty big question, one for our own time. We live in a world that is just flooded with spectacle, with powerful illusions all around us. So this ancient story kind of holds up a mirror and asks us directly, when illusion is competing with reality, how good are we at telling them apart?